Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Addington News, brought to you out of Spectators Bar, which was a buzzing on Sunday, Darren, because the inaugural Harness Grand Prix, brought to you by Harness Race New Zealand and Addington, had a lot of people chatting.
Yeah, look, fantastic racing, 8 Group 1 races and a Group 3, really from the get-go. Even the first race had a bit of excitement with Celtic Spirit winning for Ben Hope and Greg and Nina. But there's a good crowd on course. The inaugural running, it's something to build on. Gee, the weather played its part.
Yeah, it did.
Not used to 23, 24 degrees, and it was fantastic out on the lawn. Everyone seemed to be wanting to be out there and under the umbrellas, and plenty to eat and drink out there as well. So look, just a magic day as far as the sport goes, and all of those feature races, you know, Group 1 level, all of that black type that all of the connections get, and the broodmares, of course, get, which is important to the stud career going forward. So a really fantastic day, and we've seen some great racing.
Yeah, we did. Look, there were 5 New Zealand records. I want to get your take on that, because obviously the change of birth date has meant that, well, essentially you could put an asterisk beside the year of 2022, but that would be removed as soon as that record was beaten as well. So I think we really just have to suck it up over the next 12 or 18 months, and a lot of those records are going to be broken because the horses are effectively older.
Yeah, look, I think that's fair. They definitely are older and they're stronger, which is why they're probably grabbing those records. Sunday was just the perfect scenario for
hot
records.
weather, fast track,
next to no wind,
yep,
and some really good horses and some really good contests which forced times. So the likes of Republican Party and Akuta being out the back of the field and they're having to make ground, and some other horses rolling along in front that were just taking their hoof, if you like, no matter what, which was a great thing to watch for Olivia Thornley grabbing her first Group 1.
Yeah, absolutely it was. We'll review some of those races actually. Let's go to the first of those, Darren, and I think we're going to have a look at this very, very good run from this filly. She went 3.8 no matter what. We'll build that up and roll it on, and look, she takes some fairy-like footsteps late in the piece. Right about here, you know that she's pulled very hard and she's probably starting to have a bit of a think about it. There was some game runs. Obsession was excellent, I thought. Tough run from True Fantasy, having to sit parked. Dance Till Dawn's done a great job this time in, but she was brave enough to continue on. She's worked there for a long time, Olivia, for 7 years, and yeah, really thrilled for her. As I know, Mark, Hayden, Natalie, everyone was, and she was telling me that the number of messages going through to her phone, she had to put it down because it was buzzing that much. So yeah, big thrill for her, and the Thornley name associated, with this sport for a very, very long time.
Yeah, look, right through the family, if anything, they're a bit like the Butts and the Williamsons at the moment. They're doing great things. Of course, Sam Thornley overnight's had a really good start to the Australasian Young Drivers Championship, winning both heats. But Olivia, as we say, is doing a great job as a junior, and she's sought out by a number of trainers now to drive outside drives as well. And as we know from a premier stable like the Purdon Cullen team, they wouldn't be putting her on unless she could drive, and she can certainly do that.
Yeah, absolutely she can. Thought this was the race of the day. It always had the potential to be. Gee, there were a whole lot of happenings in and around the race, pre and during it. Here's Congrazia Love, won the Oaks the week before. Hidden Talent goes to the inside, probably looked the winner there until she rolled into a gallop. Massive run, Mystic Max. Huge from Highgrove, but it was Nazareth, bred by Jenny Butt out of her wonderful breed by Love You out of May Soon. Big ownership group involved here, Darren, which was terrific to see. They really got behind him. There they are, just absolutely delighted. Craig Neiman played a bit of football with him many, many years ago, and loves his harness racing. And of course, special for Tim Williams as well. First ever Group 1 trotting win, but more importantly, the man he started out with, Robert Dunn, who trains with Jenna now. Johnny, a big part of that. Not sure if that bloke was in the syndicate or he just backed Nazareth to win that race, but he was pretty excited about it. Real feel-good race that was, and I think Nazareth, he's a little bit untapped, this guy, and he proved that with the time he ran, beating Habibdi's record by 0.1 of a second.
Yeah, some great things in that. One of the connections obviously had a bit of a punt, and he had a great result there. Marianne Twentyman, of course, part of the syndicate, and I know that Robert Dunn was looking for Highgrove and was all disappointed about the 100, and then realised the other one was in front.
Going to win, yeah.
So emotions all over the place for everyone in that race.
Yeah, certainly. The other one we'll have a quick look at was this outstanding filly in Millwood Nike. What she's done, Darren, 8 starts, 8 wins. She's done it everywhere, from in front, parked, 3 wide, coming from off the pace at Alexandra Park. This was as brave as she has been, though. Look, a terrific run from her. Artie by the Seaside, I thought, was great. No disgrace in what she was able to achieve. Kalua flyby was unlucky, had to duck back to the inside, but once she balances up here and is let rip by Mark, look at the stride length on her and the scope about her. You just know the Oaks is going to be perfect in years to come, and she's got a very happy set of connections. They paid good money for her, bred by Katie Carville. It's a really deep breed, and there's Gary Endicott and the family there really enjoying the thrill. So good luck to them. Well done to them, and 5 wins on the day for the All Stars team: Mark Purd and Hayden Cullen, and 5 New Zealand Bloodstock sales graduates. So there are a whole lot of storylines around this day, as you would expect when there's 8 Group 1 races.
Yeah, massive amount of stories, and one of the ones that come out of this, of course, appeared on 3 News that night with an interview with Frank Endicott, who just loves this harness
Well, you
racing.
can't buy that sort of exposure either.
Unbelievable exposure, and he was having a good time. He's enjoying it. Not hard to enjoy it with a filly like her, but he's had a lot of racehorses in the past, so he knows how it works.
Yeah.
But this is a really great ride that these guys are going on, and the coverage that we got out of that interview with Frank was great.
Yep, certainly was. Forever Me also very good in there. She's just got a few gait issues, but she'll work it out. She's out of Adore Me, so she's probably
Goes okay.
bred to be not too bad. Right, Addington Raceway, building into Christmas. You cannot get a seat in the joint, basically, for the next 3 weeks, so tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, so Christmas at the races was very good the week before the Grand Prix, and this week we're chocker as well. I think we've got 300 odd in Twiggers,
Yep.
plus the rest of the grandstand full, so it's going to be exciting, and there's again next week. Our last meeting for the season's the 23rd of December. It's a Friday night, and it's been a long season.
Yep.
We've been still through some COVID issues at the start of it, and frustration around that and how everything's operated. So we want to look after the licence holders that have been bringing horses in to Addington week in and week out through all sorts of circumstances, building to a fantastic New Zealand Cup meeting. So we want to shout for them as we normally would do around the last meeting of the season. That'll happen on the 23rd, and more information will get out to the licence holders in the next week or so about that.
Yeah, and it's about a month off, effectively, till we come back here to Addington Raceway, but there's some good racing straight away.
Yeah, we come back on the 27th of January, and we build, of course, with the Premier Mares Championship into the Breeders' Stakes and also a Summer Trotting Cup. So there's a wee bit of action straight away, but it's that time of circuit racing and holiday atmosphere, and
people love that.
100%. That's very important to the rest of the industry, and it's important to Addington as well, because that's how a lot of people get connected with the industry, and it's a chance for our staff to recharge the batteries and try and have a bit of a breather. It's been full on, with 60 odd meetings for the year.
It has trackside dining that night on the 27th, by the way, if you want to come along. $45 per head, so pretty cheap opportunity there. Right, we're going to do a full meeting preview. Couple I do like if you don't want to listen to my analysis of every race. Kikarangi Blue, race 8, number 8. I think really hard to beat. Bob Butt to go forward. And Excuse My French, I thought was excellent. We've got 11 race program, so race number 10 for Excuse My French. And what is a handy sort of a trotting race. All right, you're going to leave us with the Derby with Sunshine Stars. They've got a big sale coming up on the 11th and 12th at the Magic Millions Complex. I can think of worse places to go down, the Gold Coast and the Magic Millions Complex. Take your checkbook with you though, although we don't have checks these days. But we'll have a look at Akuta now for you before, or perhaps at the end of the preview. Yeah,
we'll have a look at Akuta at the end of the preview. The other thing is just addington.co.nz for all of your information. We do have a back on track promotion, which is trackside dining for those first 2 meetings back, the 27th of January and the 3rd of February, $45 excluding drinks. You just buy your drinks on top of that. Addington.co.nz, just go to events and follow your nose through. There's all of the information there, the brochure, and that will sell out pretty quick as we come back. And obviously with that hiatus for Addington in that middle period, it'll be all go that first week back.
So, we'll do. Right, let's go and do the preview.
All right, let's get into the big meeting on Friday night. Massive Christmas at the races meeting, Greg. The first race gets underway at 5 o'clock. We've got 11 of them, and we go through till 10 to 10, 9:49. Minimum stakes of 12,500, so the solid stakes throughout the night. Race 1 is the Chevron Quality Cars Trot, a 2,000 metre stand.
Yeah, tricky race to start the night, Darren, but the exposed form both race day and at trials comes from the River Boy, trained by Ken Barron. Look, probably should have won a race last campaign, like the way the horse has trialled, including winning last time, beating Bonnie Baggery, who's a race rival here. So I think it's the one to beat, but it's no good thing. Unruly over 2,000 metres. Well, it doesn't excite you a lot when you're having a bet, does it? But probably got the ability to win it. True Confessions will be there for a wee bit. Another of the Tom Baggery runners that's in this. Noah Magnifique has done a little wrong for Don Burrows. Well, certainly at its first start here, it was good enough. So if it can hold its gate together, or she can, it'll be competitive. And I'll give Bonnie Baggery a chance too. 7, 4, 3, and 5, pretty open way to go. Even Greenbank Don, Zara Power, still looking for win number 1. Gets its chance too, but 7, 4, 3, 5, race 1.
The small fields throughout the night, Greg, but none of them are particularly easy to just label one. Race 2 is the first leg of that early quaddie, the Graphite Developments Limited Mobile Pace 1980. Of course, Phil and Glenys Kennard, massive supporters of that futurity race on show day.
Yeah, absolutely they are. And Bark, of course, was successful in the final this year. The 7, Ahoka LeBron, well, he'll be wondering, what the heck is going on here? I've got immense ability and I haven't been able to win a maiden in a couple of starts yet. Mind you, he's been beaten by Sinbad, who's come out and run a Group 1 placing on Sunday, and he had a very, very hard run on Cup Day. He'll go very close to winning this. So I'll go for him on top. Tuapeka Lou has impressed me at the trials. No question, this one's got the Cummings polish on it because he can run, so he'll give Ahoka LeBron plenty to think about. See who's better. He's got plenty of breeding about it. Ken Barron trains this one, and the other one I gave a chance was Don Juan, the 2, who was first up when 3rd here at Addington in behind Sinbad. So there'll be a bit to like about that for Matt Purvis. But 7, 1, 6 and number 2 in race number 2.
There's some breeding about these horses, Greg. Just looking at Melody Arden, of course, out of Venus Serena. So, the small fields, but there's a lot to like about some of these horses, and they'll have good futures ahead of them. Race number 3 is the Better Finance Junior Drivers Mobile Pace, 2,600 metre mobile. This one at 5:51.
Yeah, good competitive race too. The second leg of that early quaddie. Bondi Luster was excellent in behind Bark in that show day futurity, and then came out and won. She's a mare by Sunshine Beach. Her winning performance was over Move It On Over, who clearly has ability. So I don't see any reason why she couldn't win again. I'll go for her over Janati, who's doing a good job for Lawrence Hanrahan. This one by Art Major. Daisy Duke, who seems to go a good one, then a bad one. So last time wasn't so good, so it can bounce back here. Tom Baggery, the mare by Better's Delight, and Take My Breath Away is so consistent, also by Better's Delight for Fred Scott. I gave it a chance too. 7, 8, 6 and 4 for the juniors.
Race 4 is the Kita Ferrari Ray White Rangiora Trot, a standing start, 2,600 metres, 6:24.
Yeah, good chance here, Magic Dash, really putting together a pretty handy sort of a race record, isn't he? Trained by Regan Todd, 2nd at the Mott behind Silver Linings last week. I thought it was a pretty good run, wouldn't need to lift much, can take this out. I'll go for it on top of Comoran Strike. Don't normally tip them straight out of maidens into the next grade, but I really like this horse by Creatine out of Fancy Pants for me neighbours, the Smiths. Coaster Howe trains. No luck at Kaikoura first up. 2 very good runs since. Give it a really good chance in this. Moon's Way's one that interests me, Darren. It's only had 22 starts, 1 win, no placings. It's a workout winner at Methven earlier in the month, or might even been last month. I reckon it's got a chance. Give it some hope, and then you're probably talking about Heavenly Strings, Gina's Majesty. But yeah, I think Magic Dash can win the 4th.
There's a couple that have changed stables here. Anna's Boy, who's had a lot of ability, Blair Orange driving it normally, and it's with the Hope team now on the beach. So
I see
that could be one to cause an upset as well, maybe heading to circuits perhaps. Race number 5 is the Kenny's Paint and Detailing Rangiora Mobile Trot, 1980 at 6:56.
It's so easy in a couple of races. If it lines up on this one, Darren, it'll just about win it. So I'll go for it on top. If it's not there, Tiamo Bell becomes clear top pick. So they're 2 pretty smart animals, and I reckon they'll fight it out if they both appear. Agui will appreciate the mobile. Rachmaninoff went past 100,000 recently, Darren. What a great job it's done. The horse that can provide, well, it won't be an upset because it'll be in the markets, Martha Stewart. She's racing much better fields than this, has won 4 races, gets into a rating band where she can win again now. I went 7-4, then I was around probably the 10-3 and the 1.
Race number 6 is the Paul Renwick Kitchen and Joinery Mobile Pace 1980 at 7:28.
Yeah, it comes back to Addington Raceway. I don't know if he'll get to the heights he did on show day when the Renwick Farms Dominion was such an exciting contest, but they're celebrating their Christmas party, so it'll be great to have them on course in the Silk Suite. They'll get to see a pretty smart one here in Lumen Shaley, unbeaten in 4. Has obviously not everything's gone right because otherwise it probably would have been in the Derby, but has been to the trials, was second behind He's a Sport, looked pretty well in that, and I think it should go close to winning this. Over at stablemate Sam Hara, who we haven't seen for a wee while, since April, but has trialled nicely, comes out of that same He's a Sport trial. Go to hrnz.co.nz, have a look at that. There's a bit to like there. Last of the Mohicans racing well, the old firm, Ricky May, Lawrence Hanrahan, an invitation only comes up with an inside barrier draw. So 4, 6, 5 and 1, but yeah, Lumen Shaley's a bit special, so I'm happy to have it on top.
Race number 7 is the Vehicle Safety Systems Specialists Mobile Pace 1980 at 7:57.
Go back to Cup Week, Ashburton Commander Ben was backed off the mat. Went a good race for third in behind Janati. 2 subsequent runs, yeah, okay, I thought, at Timaru. Better at Addington, I thought, so off a good draw, and that was in that race won by Sinbad. They won't go a 56-mile rate here. So I think Commander Ben can get its 2-year-old win in this. Over the 6, Chris Lynn, who's no star. She's had 20 starts, but she's had 7 placings, so respect that. Treasure Trail, John Dunn, Tom Baggery combined, and Mamma Mia is not the worst either. But yeah, I thought Commander Ben might be able to dominate from the top end.
Race number 8 is the first leg of the late quaddie, or the last quaddie. Lather Up, Speed, Pedigree and Looks. Fillies and Mares Mobile Pace, 2,600 metres at 8:25.
Yeah, part of the great support from Woodlands for Addington Raceway. And yeah, I think Kikarangi Blue might be just better than this field. I expect her to go forward. She didn't have any luck last Sunday. Couldn't really get into the race. Celtic Spirit was in front, dominated, sprinted home into the penny section. But off the Ultimate Racebook, sectionally, she was very, very good. So I'll go for her on top of Coachella, who was actually on the ballot for the Oaks. That's always a good, I suppose, guide in many respects, that she was close enough to getting into that Group 1 race. Love Yourself has been ultra consistent. The Matt Purvis team continues to race well. And Champagne and Wine hasn't always found Addington Raceway her favourite, but when you consider that she's won 9 races and she gets into a 42 to 55, you just can't leave her out just on rating alone, Darren. So, yeah, I'd probably have her in too. But I reckon Kikarangi Blue can lead from the top end and go very, very close.
Race number 9, the Oxford Edge Accounting Mobile Pace 1980 at 8:55.
In this one, I thought the 6 Mason Shard could make it 2 from 2 for Mark Jones. Better's Delight, filly at a Pemberton Shards are beautifully bred. Sweet Diamond from the inside draw was scratched last week, Darren, wasn't it? Out of that fillies race, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she obviously nothing untoward there because she's turning up this week, so I'd give her a chance. Skittle Bomb, yes. Casino Action racing pretty well too, but yeah, I'll go for Mason Shard on top.
Race number 10 is the RE Sinclair Servicing and Vehicle Tuning Handicap Trot, 2,600 metres at 9:24.
Hey, excuse my French, doing a nice job, the son of Love You. He's won 3 from 10, thought he was excellent last time behind Mataderos on the grass at Geraldine. Comes back here to Addington Raceway, where he's had 5 starts and he hasn't placed, but this campaign has been a lot better. So I'm happy to put that to one side. In saying that, takes on the Bloss, who's won 14, Prince Tekka, who's won 10, and then you get to My Moments Now and KRS. Well, certainly My Moments Now has won 10 as well. So won't be easy for, excuse my French, but I'll go for it on top, just over the Bloss. You know where she'll be. She'll probably be in front after about 100 metres. She begins that quickly. And then Prince Tekka, if it's able to get the lead off the Bloss, will take some catching. My Moments Now a chance as well. Good race 10. Probably the race of the night, Darren.
Now, the last race, as it normally is, First Direct Taxis, big supporters of Addington Raceway and a partnership there for sponsorship. Mobile Pace 1980 at 9:49.
Yep, might go for a bit of an upset in the last year. Watch Tide and Time's performance off the video at Motocarrara. last Saturday and didn't have a whole lot of luck and had a pretty ordinary draw. Actually galloped in the score up last time, but he can begin very quickly. And I reckon if he found the front here, he might take some catching. So I'll go for him in the last. Like Sports Babe, I know the draw's not ideal, but it has the ability, or she does, to win this. Move it on over, we talked about earlier, racing really well. Princess Leia, probably the same from a strong Bob Butt team. But each way in the last, I'll go Tide and Time, courtesy of a nice barrier draw, if he brings his manners.
Rick's Chunky's Corner, the Addington Smoker, will be open on Friday night. There'll be some barrels across the lawn as there normally is, and people are taking the opportunity to be outside if it's warm enough, which is a good thing. Spectators open after the last race for a couple of drinks if people want to carry on in there. And as I say, we've got some big groups upstairs with Christmas at the races, so it's going to be great fun. We've had some really good racing so far this year. Real special performances like Sunday Sun, but I think the performance of Akuta on Sunday was one of those races that people will remember for a long time.
27.9 as they turn for home. It's Hamilton and Verstappen. Akuta has gone to the lead. He put paid to Republican Party. Then came Sandwave and Beach Ball. But this is a mammoth effort. Akuta has raced away with the Derby. Akuta is far too good and a thrilling win. He straighted them. Akuta by nearly 10. Second across Republican Party and third in was Sandwave. Then came Cyrus from Beach Ball. Here's Herbie, Franco Indy, Wheels of Fortune, Magic 4, Nicolas Cage, Fovo Gambler and Sporty Charlie.